So yes, originally I do DIYs and my videos haven't been getting as many views lately as I wish they were, maybe because my camera sucks or because I still don't know how to use the camera right, so got me some slack here guys. But today I wanted to talk about introverts and extroverts and different things about that sort of thing because I myself am an introvert, and introverts love taking and being alone sometimes. And introverts, they're very weird. They get drained easily by hanging around people all the time. And they usually recover that kind of energy by being alone so that they can go ahead and be able to hang out again. Extroverts are the complete opposite, and it's very rare to be one or the other because there are many different kinds, and some introverts are kind of more extrovert, and yeah, it all depends. Well, what you want to do to have a stable mind is to go ahead and take the time to analyze your differences and um know your faults. You are your worst critic, but you are also your own best friend. You have to learn how to pick yourself up as well as put yourself down. And that way you can develop your personality to be better than what you are now. And not to get wrong or anything, I'm not saying that you guys are awful as you are, but when you criticize yourself and you help pick yourself up to better yourself in that way from that criticism, basically what you're doing is you're helping make yourself better and helping yourself see your own faults, and it'll help you in relationships and everything if you are able to analyze stuff this way. um it makes it easier on people. Because if you know what your faults are, you could tell them, say someone's like, oh, you don't do things right, or what's a specific thing? An example with me is that I was told with one of my exes that I didn't apologize much, or I wasn't supportive, or something like that. It was always the same thing. And I kept telling her, I don't understand what you're talking about because I didn't see it. Because I was always doing stuff for her, and I was always going ahead and being my best person that I could be. And when I asked her if we could do something that I wanted to do, she would never do it, of course. And she'd go, I would rather just do this for the day. And I'm just like, fine, whatever, it's your choice, because I am eager to please. It's a very bad flaw of mine. I am eager to please. I never take time for myself. And if I'm in a social situation, I never take time for myself. I usually give and give and give, and I never ever think about myself until a few months later. I'll be like, well, I've been doing all this stuff for you. Why don't you do this thing for me? You know? As a kid, even on my birthdays and stuff, I would go ahead and I would give my old toys to kids who would say, oh, well, I never had this kind of toy before, and I would know them personally, and I'd be like, oh, well, you can have mine, because why not? So, yeah, I was always weird like that. it's just ridiculous. And like when I got into my first relationship, she was my first friend that I actually made because I was very shy and quiet as a kid. I actually clung to my mother for the longest time, and basically what it was is that I thought I was shy, but I realized later on that I was an introvert. And I'd sit and like, okay, my mom wanted to introduce me to someone that I nicknamed. What was his nickname? It was Uncle Fuzzy. We nicknamed him Uncle Fuzzy because he was a family friend and he had a whole bunch of body hair like on his arms, his belly, and everything. And he'd walk around shirtless around the house for God knows what reason. But when I first met him, I clung behind my mom, and my dad kept trying to like motion me forward. It wasn't working, and they're just like, "It's okay, Uncle Fuzzy won't hurt you," and I'm just like, "No, I'm good." And I'd whisper, and I'd stay behind my mom the entire time. It wasn't until my mom made me go away from her that I got like get to know him and realize that he wasn't too bad. And it took a lot for me as a kid. Like, I was so drained after social situations when I was a kid. If I knew you, or if my family knew you, and you'd been around a couple years, yes, I was fine with that. I was like, oh, great, okay, I know this person. And I'd ask them for hugs and stuff. But in normal situations where I didn't know anybody, I was always um, that sort of thing where I would be quiet and keep to myself and I wouldn't talk to anyone. As I broke this habit when I met my first friend who we're just gonna call Wolfie for privacy reasons. So Wolfie, I met in anime club because I love anime. Well, it wasn't until I met her that she introduced me to all of her friends that went ahead and helped me expand and be friendly to people. Like, it wasn't till high school till I started making friends, and I'm out of high school now, and I'm much more comfortable with trying to make friends. And I started, because of Wolfie, I started to branch out and go to the introverted crowd, and I'd talk to them, and I'd eventually, after a week, get them to talk to me. And it only took a week. And it would just, for me, if I hadn't have met Wolfie, like I hung around her for a whole 2 weeks before she's like, okay, we need to break this. We're gonna have you talk to somebody, whether you like to or not. We're just gonna have you do it. And I'm just like, no! In my head, I was panicking. I later realized she was just trying to help me not be so introverted and stay quiet the entire time. In the end, I am grateful, because if it wasn't for her, I probably would have no social life. I still don't have a social life right now. Anyway, um, extroverts are the complete opposite. I know an extrovert, and we're gonna nickname her Maya. We're gonna call her Maya. So Maya is in one grade lower than me when I met her in my newest high school that I was in recently, that I just graduated from. And when I met her, she was with two introverts, and she was basically sitting by herself, talking away and yapping, yeah, da 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 da. And you're gonna realize in this part that that's all she does. But that's okay. That's because that's how Maya is. So she's a wonderful, sweet, wonderful girl, and all she does is talk away. And when I first met her, I was like, oh my god, this she's gonna be too much for me. I'm not gonna be able to handle it. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this now. This is my second time I've yawned really bad. I'm tired. It's like 2 a.m., maybe almost 1 a.m. I don't know. I can't tell time with my camera rolling. Um. Anyway, so I started hanging around a friend because introverts were easier for me to bond with and easier for me to get to know. And when her introverted friend decided to leave me, Maya and I started talking, and eventually I realized she's okay. I can handle her. I can handle her. Maybe not for long periods of time, but I can handle her. For an introvert making friends with like the total opposite, I was able to handle Maya pretty well. Well, oh my goodness. We're still friends. I just haven't had a chance to hang out with her recently. Um, and she's like one of my closest friends because she's one of the only ones that will hang out with me right now. And that's a little upsetting, but that's because two introverts that I knew that lived very close to me left. Then, Maya's friend ended up hanging out with her girlfriend and abandoning me. So I'm pretty much by myself aside from, what, 3, 4 people. Which, two have jobs, and Maya plus one of the guys has a job and goes to school with Maya, as well as one of my other friends who also goes to school. So most of my friends are either younger than me or gone or yeah. So anyway, um, it's just ridiculous because um, she was my complete opposite, and I didn't think I'd get along with her at all. I completely backfired, and you know what? That's one of the things that makes introverts interesting. Take If you're an introvert, do once a week. Take the chance and go and talk to someone who's completely on the opposite scale of you. Try. Not someone that's mean, but someone that seems genuinely kind that is an extrovert. You want to talk to some people like that because, yes, they might be a little too much to handle, just a tiny bit, but in the end, it'll be worth it because they will stick by you if they are true friends. And that is what is worth it for friendship and bonding and all that lovely stuff. So, yeah, you want to do that sort of thing. Um, Basically, when you are an introvert or an extrovert, a healthy mind leads to healthier choices and healthier life, and you have to be okay with who you are. If you know that you're different, that's fine. Be happy of who you are. Don't change anything that you want, change anything that you want to be, because changing it is just changing yourself, and if you change yourself, eventually you won't know who you are. And you don't want to keep changing yourself. You want to be you. With my ex, who kept telling me stuff like, "Oh, you never do this sort of thing for me." I did everything for her. I bent over backwards for her, and I really don't think she ever really noticed. And when I mention it now, she yells at me. So, that's how that sort of thing goes. But she wasn't too kind to me, and she'd always put me down, and it's just not the sort of thing that you do in a relationship. So after being depressed for a long time, I'm not gonna get into how long, I finally decided to break up with her, and she got upset, and I told her, and said, "I'm sorry, I just can't do it." And she was an introvert as well, but because she didn't socialize with others as much as I socialized, she didn't realize what she was doing, and it was just hard on both of us because I would just take it, and my family kept yelling at me because they didn't like her, all because she wasn't social. And now that she is social, she doesn't even talk to me so that much. So that's how things go, and you know what? That's all right because sometimes having people like that in your life isn't very good, and it's just be who you want to be. Be you. Don't pretend to be someone you're not. If you're an introvert, don't pretend to be an extrovert. It's just not good. Anyway, I hope my stories have filled you with something interesting for once. Um, if you want me to do a video like this again, let me know. I will try to fill it with some self experiences. I'm only 20, so my life isn't as extraordinary as everybody else's because I'm so young. Well, young-ish. I just got out of my teen years. So yeah, anyway, I'm Dobby, the what was it? Alpha DIY Alpha Hound. Please, do me a favor and subscribe. I'm not gonna pressure people into doing it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. I don't care. If you're watching my video, thank you. And just let me know if you want me to continue doing DIYs because I have a few dolls and stuff that I could do, but it's just right now I don't have the money or materials to do so, so I'm trying. Um, I need to start filming my stuff, and the better I get at the camera stuff, the better, I guess. Anyway, see ya.